There was once a young man named Arun who lived in a small town where appearances meant everything. People judged you not by your heart or your dreams, but by the clothes you wore and the shoes on your feet. Arun worked at a workshop polishing old shoes just to save enough coins to buy a new pair of his own. For months, he lived frugally, cutting down on food, working extra hours, dreaming of the day he could finally hold his head high in front of others. At last, the day came. With trembling hands, he bought the shoes he had admired for so long, sleek, polished, shining. To him, they weren't just shoes. They were dignity. They were respect. The very next morning, Arun slipped them on proudly and walked through the marketplace. For the first time, he felt equal to the others. He didn't lower his head. He didn't hide his feet. He walked with pride. But fate can be cruel. By evening, as he crossed a muddy street, a passing cart splashed water across the road. His new shoes slipped off, sinking deep into the thick mud. Before he could react, another cart rolled over them. The shoes were gone, crushed, useless. Arun froze, his face burned with shame. Barefoot, he stood in the middle of the crowd, people staring, whispering, laughing. All his months of saving, all his hopes of dignity, gone in a single day. He ran home, locked the door, and sat in silence. Without those shoes, he thought, I am nothing. But then, in the stillness of night, something stirred inside him. Was his pride really in the shoes, or was it in how he walked? The next morning, Arun made a decision. He stepped outside, barefoot again, but this time, he didn't look down. He held his head high. He greeted people with confidence. He walked as though his feet carried not shame, but purpose. And something unexpected happened. The same people who had laughed at him now looked at him differently. They whispered again, but not about his feet, about his confidence. Arun realized a truth that day. It's not what you wear that makes you worthy. It's the vision you carry and the way you carry yourself. Years later, this same truth was lived by a man who would change the world, Steve Jobs. Jobs, like Arun, knew humiliation. In 1985, he was fired from Apple, that very company he had built in his parents' garage. Imagine that. Your own creation, your own child, rejecting you, he later admitted. What had been the focus of my entire adult life was gone, and it was devastating. Many saw him as a failure. Newspapers mocked him. Former colleagues distanced themselves. The world thought his story was over. But Steve Jobs, like Arun walking barefoot, chose to carry himself with vision instead of shame. He started a new company, Next, and bought a small animation studio called Pixar. Both ventures seemed risky, even foolish. But Jobs had learned dignity doesn't come from what you lose, it comes from what you dare to create next. And then, history took its turn. Pixar's Toy Story became the world's first fully computer-animated film, a revolution in entertainment. Next's technology became so powerful that Apple eventually bought it and with it, brought Steve Jobs back home. This time, he didn't just return with shoes. He returned barefoot, in his signature black turtleneck jeans, and sneaker symbols that he no longer needed luxury or approval to be respected. He needed only his vision, and that vision gave us the iPod, the iPhone, the iPad, the very tools that reshaped modern life. The boy who was humiliated grew into the man who taught the world. It is not what you wear, it's what you imagine. It's what you build. The lesson. Arun's lost shoes. Steve Jobs lost company. The thread is the same. Your worth is not defined by what you lose, or by what people see on the outside. It's defined by how you walk forward barefoot if you must carrying the fire of your vision. Jobs on his side have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. So let me ask you, have you ever lost your shoes? Something you thought gave you value, a job, a relationship, an opportunity, only to feel empty without it. And yet, maybe that loss wasn't the end. Maybe it was the beginning of walking barefoot into a new life. Write your story in the comments. I would love to read it. And if this story touched you, don't miss the next one. Because tomorrow, I'll share about a boy who tried to sell paper birds and was laughed at until his persistence inspired one of the greatest entrepreneurs in history. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Remember, your vision, not your shoes, is what will carry you forward.